Alright, back up with another video. What day is it? March 30th, 2023. What could there be to say at a time like this? Got some OSRS up in the background, talking to one of my longtime homies. One of the few people who put me onto RS in the very beginning. I think it was mainly the other homie that did. Made my first account, but this other homie I'm talking to right now is pretty much sustained my interest in the game in those early formative years. Greetings out there. Don't know why I felt tempted to record. I suppose it's been months and months now. Just doing a little bit of defense grinding. We got 80 strength recently. That was kind of a slow burn. Slow build, rather. And just going for 80 defense down here. I think Danny was at this place for a long time. I think he maxed recently, if I'm not mistaken. I might try to pull that up, actually. Let's see. Just another second. Oh, right, there's no search bar in these high scores, I forgot. Where are you? Here he is. And yeah, maxed. Congrats to Danny. That's an incredible achievement. Quite the spectacle, especially on a 1x server. But yeah, he's basically occupying this space down here for the longest time. Ran into him. And you think he said these ogres at level 58 only de-aggro you at I think he was at 121 in combat when I saw him down here. So that's, I don't know, it's just assuring this space is a long time AFK spot. Definitely don't know of all the AFK spots. So it was an interesting transfer from the basement. Basement, as I like to call it. Yeah, what else would I have to say? I don't think I approached this video with entering with too many topics I immediately wanted to bring up. Although I will say in just my regular daily life, thinking about topics to talk about in video is something that always crosses my mind. Haven't really devoted a notepad to it yet, though. But there are definitely topics that come across. Let me see if I can think of any. I think there was there an Easter event last year? I don't know if there will be this year. The numbers have been pretty low every time I log on. Granted that I'm not really online nearly as much, which has been talked about before. I'm also guilty of playing Preservation, just checking it out. Since their recent explosion in players, which also seems to have lowered a little bit after the, I don't know, beginning romantic phase for anyone that comes back to Classic after a long ass time. Cool in the beginning for some, but after, I don't know, you either complete the game, which I don't think too many people that have joined over the last 3 months have completed, really. I guess that's a subjective term as well. But just the fact that it's a grindy game with, I guess what some would call minimal reward. But again, reward is also a subjective term, so you get what I mean. It's definitely not easy scape. But yeah, those numbers are really cool to see in the beginning. Um, like, I mean, I feel like I would have caught on to it eventually, but like at the right place at the right time. Being that logged on around Christmas time, we're talking about Prez now, and there wasn't really too many people. I mean, this also goes into what I was just saying about Vanilla, how like I'm not really on that much as it stands. Just a few times, like before January, on Preservation. You know, not a ton of people playing. There's definitely a few. Definitely got hooked up with like Mithralmer and stuff. Woodcutting axe when I needed it. Then around that time, I think I noticed that like this guy who goes by STS9 was like, I guess like popping crackers and like dropping hats and whatever. So of course that interested me. And then I just happened to be on when he was on, and like got a chest to be spawned in Draenor Village. Basically, just threw a drop party, which was really awesome because I was able to steal away with a yellow and a blue party hat and a red Halloween mask, which was sick. And then it seems like in short order after that, that one dude made the video, just expressing his fondness for the game and old charming memories, which I guess hit the algorithm in the feels. And I guess the game just sort of popped off from there, which was just spectacular to see. I mean, dozens of people pouring in, like left, right, and center. And yeah, it was a good moment just to be on a server almost identical, but there are nuances. Maybe I can talk about that too. And I pretty much compared the feeling to like, I think the easiest one that came to mind was like experiencing snow, like as a kid or whatever, or just even like out here in the desert, figuratively, like between both servers, sort of feeling like a desert at times with only a few people online. And then all of a sudden there being this like flurry, and then this I don't know, would I call it an avalanche? Maybe like a slow building avalanche, which I think has reached its crescendo point by now. But it was pretty nice to be around for that and see all the interesting usernames. Yeah, definitely a lower count on vanilla lately. I think the differences between the servers, if I'm not mistaken, it seems like vanilla is either one tick faster or preservation is like one tick slower. I can't remember where I heard that. I think I'm sort of like just compiling things and testing it out for myself. I'm not really measuring anything. But there is just sort of a slight latency when comparing the two. 1 second, I'm gonna go get some water. Yeah, it's kind of hard for me to play two games at the same time. Like OSRS is just sitting there, my homie's talking to me, and I'm like not even saying anything. Um, yeah, there's this like invasive. I mean, at least my girlfriend claims they're invasive or has that observation. Like they're everywhere in my town, in my area of the city. These like yellow looking daisy flowers that just like have pretty much grown everywhere you look that has like soil. I think that's due to like the weird pattern of rainfall maybe last year leading into this year. So also, I don't know, a couple of other differences between the servers. Let me think about that. I think on Vanilla there is a 5 second restriction to global chat. Maybe it's 10 second, I can't remember. I'll just test it out right now. And I think on preservation they bumped it up to 20 seconds compared to no limit because the global chat was pretty much just on fire every day. Um, which was pretty cool in its own right, but that was very prone to a lot of spam and just like random garbage messages. And especially for people who like to take on that role, having unlimited access to everybody's eyeballs, or at least most people. Um, let's see here. Yeah, 5 second limit. Another difference would be there isn't a Max Smith yet on preservation, and on vanilla we have almost two of them. I think Hayek has been, I don't know, just pretty much on the same tip of not really being online all the time. But I mean, he is 98, which is all you need, at least to make a rune two-handed sword boosted. Prices on here, I think, are like still around 200k, 250k. I think I've seen them for around like 600 to 700k on preservation. I mean, which makes sense. I think before we had anyone who was able to make the rune two-handed sword, they were around like a mil, somewhere in there. I mean, from what I've heard people say, like way back in the day, like when RSC actually had like a constant PK scene, they were around 50k. So that would be pretty cool to see them reach that price point, even though the top smiths, I mean, always deserve as much as they could get because that's an obscene amount of work, at least by my current standards. PK scene in general would be pretty sick. Um, yeah, who knows when the next tournament will be on vanilla. Would be cool to see maybe like a higher level bracket or like even a lower level bracket, and there'd be like a 10 versus 10 sort of like a wall of death competition in some way. I think this was suggested to Duke Master before, or he suggested it. I can't remember. Sort of like a war of the 20s or something in there. Set up my cannon. Any other differences? Definitely cheap rares on preservation. I haven't really seen fat prices dip below on vanilla anywhere underneath around 10 mil. And I think on Prez you can get like a yellow for 70k now. Maybe still get one free. I haven't really logged on in almost a week, so things are always changing. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's too many differences between the two. Definitely more heavy moderation on the other side, that's for sure. I think that's something in the beginning of like my RSC journey I've always enjoyed, at least from like a vanilla point of view, was in the beginning there wasn't really any moderation, and not exactly because there was like a bunch of shit being said or like being able to get away with anything. I think in the background, like to my knowledge, Zephyr was always the guy who sort of like inspects the game and like searches for, I don't know how it works, but maybe like combs through the code for any like suspicious botting behavior. But that's pretty much all that happened, really. I don't think anyone's ever been muted. And other than that, there was pretty much no admin behavior from the top, and the server pretty much floated seamlessly. So that was something that always sort of, I don't know, struck a chord in me because it just sort of fit the aura of RuneScape Classic before it closed officially, in the sense that, I don't know, you were just sort of able to roam freely. But that's not even to like back any toxic behavior. It's just sort of like a vibe, if that makes sense. Um, Both are cool. That was just something that I remember feeling distinctly, at least for the first, I don't know, two-ish, maybe 2.5 years of vanilla, maybe even 3 years. But yeah, under here has been a pretty nice spot. Lone Lamer shouted it out. Not shouted it out, I'm shouting him out, but he mentioned this spot to me. I think he said Bonesy also trained down here a lot. Um, RIP to Bonesy's account, because no matter which way you flip it, that was a lot of work. I think he was pretty much maxed melee stats. Yeah, I don't know. On preservation, sort of like being on just a Cr00ztube docks and like not people constantly walking by, but just occasionally walking by and like just saying what's up. And always seeing those like super Chad warriors that are like, they might be like 13 combat and they're basically wearing like every piece of armor that you can pick up. Like they have like maybe an iron sword and like a bronze square shield and like a chef's hat, a black cape, and like a blue wizard's robe bottom with like whatever they're stylized in, color and hair wise. It's just awesome and hilarious to see because they look as beefy as you can get for like such an early combat level. I wanted to make like a screenshot compilation of those. Um, Clearly haven't done it. Maybe not so clearly. I definitely have a few screenshots I could snip together. but I just think they look hilarious as like a gang or a unit. Hmm. I think personally, like my take on the whole, like I guess Zephyr isn't allowed on preservation. I've read through the comments and like I saw Beast Fable's video on that outlining the situation. I don't have much to say as far as like the issue itself. I do think to keep people entirely from their favorite game, or at least one of their favorite games, is at least a little cruel to me. Um, I guess that's what you run into with like I don't know, privately owned servers. I guess I don't know. I definitely think he should be let back, especially if things continue to pop off over there. Definitely, ultimately seems like a good dude. Ultimately, hopefully things can be worked out, or maybe just agreed upon, maybe via proxy, uh, using someone else to communicate messages. I mean, who knows if you have anything to do with the issue itself. I could relay a message, hopefully nothing too intense, but as long as everyone plays the game fairly, with a decent amount of respect, I don't see why not. So that's how I feel about that. Feelings, man, they really go a long way as far as human decisions ultimately. Left. Up here on OSRS, like obviously you can't see the screen right now, but I'm just crafting some air battle staffs, teleporting here and there. My other homie in game just reached 98 Slayer, which is pretty nuts. I think I'm like mid 80s. Yeah, mid 80s, and I'm not really that concerned with hopping around the map and just killing things, even though I do make it a point to do most of the clue scrolls, which is like the funnest part for me, just because of the random rewards. And you never know when that third age might hit, if it's a hard clue, or the ranger boots if it's a medium clue. I really hoped that, like, as far as OSRS goes, I really hoped that, like, they would just leave all the skills as they are and not add another one. I don't know how any of you feel out there. I know a couple of you play OS currently, and I feel like, at least in my mind right now, I don't have like that crucial of an issue with another skill being added, but just like the numbers 2277 total is a beautiful number. And I think if the next skill is also 99, what would it be? 2376. It's still not a bad number, but 2277 is a lot more of a pretty number for what that's worth. Imagine that being the reason. We'll see what happens. Who knows what skill it'll land on? I might check out the poll they have running right now. Pretty much be down here just training defense until 80. Um, who knows if there's any other like combat AFK spots I feel tempted to hit up. Maybe like, I don't know, the Axe Hut up north. That's not really worth the gamble just because I'm not all in, hate dying or being like suspicious of who's out there. And then even more awkward, it's like if you run into a homie and it's like, ah, sorry, dude, gotta kill you. Probably not, but you never know. Who knows who will try to pull a fast one on you. It's been interesting, like hearing what happens with the whole chatbot thing. I'm sure a few of you have at least heard of like what's going on with like developments with like the chatbots out in the world right now. What that means possibly for RS, as far as like being able to detect bots, at least from a personal point of view, like speech and diction and all that. Kind of creepy. Like a system that can just invent its own narrative on the fly and like trick you. Miss me with all that. We'll see what kind of verification they might come out with. Who knows when that'll happen. I'm saying peace out to the homie on OS because this is a little too much for my mind. Yeah. Um, any other points? I don't know. I feel like, at least in my own personal life, in my art, like my painting and stuff, part of the style I'm interested in is like, has the potential to look like RSC in a way, as far as not being so heavily rendered or just like blended and made into like a realistic photocopy. Like you can leave room for like abbreviation or just like a simplification of forms. Like say it's somebody's face. Not every feature needs to be perfectly like anatomical and crisp. So that abbreviation, like pixelation, basically just reminds me of RSC, which is fun to think about a style like that as far as fine art is concerned. Maybe in the next vid I'll just like incorporate a painting or two. RSC paintings, bruh. Fuck with me. Health wise, I think I've been doing pretty good. Did have a little bit of a scare in like late January. Won't get too deep into that. But I guess shortly thereafter, I found out that I'm sensitive to like histamines in foods, or like foods that are higher in histamine, which is like most things that are fermented, like cheeses or like some alcohol. I think all alcohol actually. Vinegar and pickles and stuff, which is interesting because there's only a couple of reasons why that could be, which has led to sort of me discovering a potential missing link after many years of trouble. So I think there's good news on the horizon, to put it simply. But definitely have been feeling better lately since de escalating the amount of histamines in my diet, which is also a very slow on and slow off thing. I think it takes at least like 3 to 6 weeks to lower your internal levels if you haven't been metabolizing it correctly. But basically, protect the gut, man. Take your vitamins and eat healthy. I pretty much just tried beef liver for the first time yesterday, which wasn't really that bad. But it's supposed to be like the most nutrient dense source of like I guess nutrition from like a natural food point of view. One of them basically organ meats As creepy as that sounds, at least in our culture. I mean, I believe it, and time will tell because it's supposed to be just chock full of specific vitamins and minerals that are important to digestion. All I can say is that people really doctor up liver pretty heavily with like either seasonings or flavorings or sauces, or it's just really incorporated into a meal instead of eaten plain, which I don't have a lot of options, so I pretty much had to stomach it yesterday. Really not that bad. If you've ever tried meats that taste a little more gamey than usual, it's pretty much what it's like. Really not bad at all. But there's different types you can get, so whoever's interested can look into that. There's tons of stuff online as far as advice for cooking or preparing and all that jazz. I think I'll pretty much cap it here. I don't want to go too long right now. I'm running on 30 minutes of speech, which I never do. Um, what else? It's good to see all the usuals online whenever I can. I know I've missed several people, sort of touch and go lately. Maybe I'll have an era where I try to come back. I don't know. We'll see where life takes me. I'm pretty content with the state of things right now. I think they're steadily improving. Hope they're improving for you as well out there, wherever you may be, whatever sort of personal projects you're working on. I definitely have a few of my own personal projects going right now that also are pretty, I guess they're healthier time sinks. I'll always love RS, as you probably know. Um, yeah, take it easy, stay healthy. We'll see where the world goes. Happy skipping, friends. Catch you later.